Hello everyone and welcome to Neo Racing League for round 2 of the season. We are here at the Yas Marina circuit tonight for our first sprint weekend of the season. The circuit is a 3.28 miles containing 16 corners and 2 DRS zones making up the Middle Eastern circuit. Opened back in 2009, it has been on the calendar ever since. For the majority of it, it has been the final round of the season. Last time we raced here in Neo was back in season 2, where we saw Samola, our season 2 champion, take victory around the circuit. I am your commentator, James Jackson, and tonight I am joined by a man whose career is like Jensen Buttons, and rumour has it he is best friends with a man named Ricky Bobby. All we know is called apfstig. How you doing, my friend?
I don't even know who Ricky Bobby is.
Daniel Ricciardo.
Oh, sorry, mind my language. Right, hello everyone.
Well, welcome back, mate. You've been away for a week, and now you get to see a sprint weekend for your first week
I
back.
went to the land of Verstappen,
The land of Verstappen.
and I saw no Verstappen flags or anything like that.
Any orange? No.
No orange. I didn't hear the Dutch national anthem once. But yeah. So yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Well, last week we were at Vegas, and while we're getting everyone out on their outlaps, we'll go through the standings. We had one race where Westwood got the race win with 19 points that he'll take from that. Different point system to what you'll see in real life F1, so there are some slight changes. I'll go through that shortly. So Westwood leads the way ahead of Bonvia in P2. Visna, or Marchmeister, it will round off the podium places from last week. Rubsicola in P4 with Classens or JPS in P5. Nutria, who isn't here this week and was a reserve last week, finished P6 with David in 7th and Hamflap Kelly in P8. We had a few other drivers race, but they all retired. Constructor standings, we have Aston Martin leading the way by 8 points over RB. Haas will be in P3 with Williams in 4th, Mercedes 5th and Alpine 6th, with Sauber, Red Bull, McLaren and Ferrari all not scoring points. Quickly on the points, actually, I'm going to quickly run through how it works. So you'd get 19 for first, 14 for second, third you'll get 12, fourth you get 9, 8 for 5th, 6 for 6th, 7th, 5 for 7th, 3 for 8th, 2 for 9th, and 1 for P10, with a fastest lap point as well. Sprint quality as well, there's a bit of difference. We've got sprint race, sorry, I should say. Very bit of a difference. You've got 5 points for first, down to 1 point for 5th, no points for fastest lap. So, slight changes in this. It gives it a bit of uniqueness, a bit difference. Also makes everything a little bit closer. So we're in sprint quali right now. It's a single session, so everyone will be very quickly trying to get a lap on the board and just try and get the way up the field for the first of 2 quali sessions tonight.
Those points were a bit of a mouthful for you, weren't they?
Oh, they were a massive mouthful. I changed about how I wanted to say it 3 or 4 times, but here we are.
Well, I think the first to set a lap is either going to be Hamflap Kelly or it's going to be whoever's in front. Is that Rupsi? Rupsi Cola? Yeah, Rupsi, I think, is going to be the first to set a lap. Currently going through sector 2 around a really long left-hander. As soon as you get to about the apex of this corner, you're absolutely flat out on the throttle again. Rupsi's now entering sector 3. This sector can be very difficult because it's off camber. And also, if he's burnt up his tyres around sector 1 and 2, it's going to be really difficult to have grip through here. Absolutely flat out now through the second to last corner. Coming around the last corner now, having a bit of curb there. He could have run a bit more on the exit, and that's a 23.7. We're going to see faster times than that, but that's a respectable time.
Yeah, it's a decent little time there. You need to get your rubber top. You get yourself worked into a working window. Just get a good lap on the ball. 23.2 there for the Aston Martin of Shoot Fizzle, our championship leader, also known as Westwood. I'm going to have to get used to which way I want to call these drivers. But
oh, that's Westwood. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to get used to the way which way I call these drivers, because some of them are like you want to use their first name their last name something behind them, just using their gamer tag. So we're going to get a couple drivers on the board. 5 thousandths between our top two of Shoot Fizzle and DJ TT in the RB. So those two are very, very close in at the front at the moment. I believe we're going to have JPS go P3. Yes, we do. As we go to just under 8 minute mark of the session, the Mercedes a couple tenths off of the RB there. David now is coming down the back straight towards the chicane, in between, separating the two DRS zones. Goes through there quite nicely, hits the apex, doesn't get any sort of traction loss there as he goes across the curb. So he now opens up the DRS as we go down the back straight before the long left-hander as he goes fast to sector 2 apparently according to our timesheet. We'll see how true that is as we go throughout the last part of the lap. Goes a bit wide on the exit curb but just keeps it in the white line with one of his wheels at the very least. Down for the triple right-hander fairly nicely. Just a very clean and modest lap if anything really he needs here. He just needs something just decent, just to get a time on the board. He's got a Sauber in front of him with a little bit of front wing damage. That'll cost him a little bit of time in terms of dirty air as we go round the final corner and up to the line of 23.8 from David. Puts himself P5 right now, about 10th ahead of Handflap Kelly, but about half tenth behind Roopsy Cola.
Is this a full sprint, Wally?
No, single, I believe.
Cool. Okay, cool. So this one's going to be very important these next 6.5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm used to last week where we had because they done technically 2 quality sessions because they all just retired from the first session, so they just did double quality session. So I was used to that, but now we've got a sprint quality session, which is much more high impact. We've got to try and get a lap on the ball straight away. You have no time to build up with a sprint quality session. 12 minutes on the we'll start with, already over halfway through our time, as some drivers are still in the pit lane, have not set a lap. Over half the field have yet to set a lap. I know a couple of drivers have joined in that meantime, so we'll have to see whether that has any impact on their confidence. Gary Gator has invalidated his lap time, so that will be certainly impacting the Sauber's confidence. Shoot Fizzle 23.1 goes a little bit faster than what he did previously, ahead of DJ TT. Is there anyone who's actually going to start a lap? I believe we will have
Marcel.
Yeah, Marcel. Would you like to take us on a onboard lap of Marcel?
Of the papaya McLaren in the we're coming around the last corner now. Want to have a nice good exit here. Coming up to turn 1. Are we doing a proper lap here? Yes, we are. Right, coming down into 4th gear now. You probably want to be nice and clean on the exit because you don't want to bump over those curbs too much, but you're absolutely flat around turn 3. Coming up down to end this sector 1 here, and that is apparently is going to be purple, but we'll see what that means. 3rd gear for the hairpin out into the main straight, going as wide as you can to try and maintain as much speed as possible. Towards the end of the straight, going to be hitting about 205 miles an hour here. Going to be using as much of that ERS as you possibly can. Late on the brakes, trying to get that car turned in. We want as much of that car pivoting around as possible, as we're nice and clean on the exit, using the curb nicely on the exit to again maximize that track. Back on the ERS again because you're going to be hitting about 200 miles an hour again on the 2nd straight. And like I said earlier, get into about midpoint of this corner and you're back straight on the foot. Straight to full throttle again. Now back into sector 3. You want to take it nice and cleanly around these 90-degree corners. A little bit off camber through here, so you've got to be careful of that front axle sliding out from underneath you throughout the corner. But he does it nice and cleanly through there, flat out through the 2nd to last corner, and then 4th gear for the last corner. And it's a pretty respectable lap actually, 23.0.
Yeah, a decent little lap there for the McLaren. He's now put himself just over a tenth ahead of the Aston Martin there, and with a couple of other drivers now currently on laps, Pump Mantis being one of them. The Red Bull competing last week, doing a decent job overall, but just not really. But he'll be looking to try and fight for a victory come race end, and 23.6 puts himself P5, 6 tenths off of our current provisional pole sitter for the sprint, as a couple more drivers are coming across the line, and actually I believe JPS is going to be one of them. He's now starting a lap. Okay, JPS is now starting a lap. Is that Hamflap Kelly? He's coming into the pits. So you've got a couple drivers just coming around, just coming into the pits and start. I believe they won't have enough time to get out again. So about half the field in the pit, about 5-6 drivers there in the pits. So they're not really going to be able to do anything here, and that's pretty much session over for 3 of them because they're all out, got no time on the board, so they're going to be right at the back.
So he's looking pretty quick so far. Apparently, he's fastest sector 1.
Yeah, he's doing a very decent job here as we go into the chicane. We go to get a bit wide there on entry from JPS though. As he goes into the second part, it will compromise his line all the way down the straight, especially on exit, because he won't be able to have quite the run. However, if it works, it works. He's now over 4 attempts up, heading into sector 2. Where can JPS put himself? Can he put himself into provisional pole with a lot of drivers in the pits heading into this last part of the session? He could certainly take advantage. And DJ TT in the RB, half a second up, very good job from the RB, but can JPS match him? Rampant Gamer goes to P4. The Mercedes is on a good lap though, heading round the penultimate corner into the final corner. Where does the Mercedes put himself? Right to the line, goes P2, just a 10th and a half behind the RB in a very nice job from the Mercedes. Puts himself on the front row. Can anyone top those 2 times though, who are quite far clear of the field at this stage? There is an Alpine of David coming round the final sector. He's currently miles down on his time, but over a second. That is very, very unfortunate from the Alpine. He's not going to be improving here, as we got Burkle or in the Ferrari currently on a lap. He's their only time, and they get a massive amount of OCX into the wall. That Ferrari has now cost themselves in this sprint race. Yes, it's only a sprint quali and only a sprint race, but these are crucial points in any championship. Up to the line he goes, and he just has to just admit defeat with that. Will be P12 by the end of that. And his start is on a lap, I do believe. Oh, that's the wrong button. A-Star has just started the lap, or has he finished? Yeah, he just started one. Okay, 17-6. 17-6 into this square. Can the Red Bull put himself? We've got a lot of drivers coming across the line, so we've got to keep an eye on that top of that time sheet. DJT and JPS unable to be topped at this stage. Marcel has retired from the session in the pit lane, so it could be A-Star who comes up and tops their junior drivers in the Red Bull RB team through the chicane. Now, decent job there, not too bad on traction either, as we go down this DRS straight for one final time for the Red Bull in this sprint quali. 53.0 in the first 2 sectors. He is comparable to other drivers, but where can he go? Doesn't quite have the line there though. On the exit of that right hander, just kind of had a midpoint and had a bit of snappo oversteer as well, and it just did not seem too planted there from the Red Bull. Heading under the hotel now. On the exit, gets a massive swapper as we go through that the territory corner of the circuit into the penultimate and the final corner. It isn't the cleanest, but he does a 23.5 and puts himself into P6. Exactly a second off pole position for the session.
We've got 3 drivers that haven't done a lap. So Gary is retired. Neo, I think, is just coming up to finish off, coming around the second to last corner. Coming up sort of final corner now. Oh, a bit too much on the curb there. That's not going to be a great time. 24.0. And then March Meister has just gone in at P5 with a 23.2. So everyone has now finished. So, oh no, Rampant Gamer has now finished as well. It didn't improve.
Oh, JPS is on a lap, but he's quarter of a second down, heading into sector 3, and he will not improve on his time. And like that, that is sprint quali over in 12 minutes. That is a very quick quali session. You've just got to be on it in this session, and that would allow DJ TT in the V-Carb to take pole position ahead of JPS in the Mercedes in P2. Shoot Fizzle ends up P3, getting ahead of the McLaren of Marcel. Marchmeister will round off our top 5 with Rampant Gain and A-Star following them in P6 and 7. The medium runners of David and Pump Mantis in P8 and P9. Very interesting to see them on mediums there. As TTV, yes, JC, will be rounding out our top 10 with Rupsicola in P11. And now we get into the sprint race. 5 points are on offer here. This is a very, very well, it's our very first sprint race. So this is where you just got to push. You cannot have any drawbacks here. You've got to be able to push it. It's a third of a 50 race distance later on this evening. So you just need to be able to get on with it, and you cannot let anyone overtake you and get in. Especially if you're in that top 5, you need the points, and you'll be having a very difficult time with things. From the drivers behind, who will be coming at you non-stop over the next however many laps. I'm not even sure for a sprint.
Yeah, the sprint race is definitely worth a bit more risk from the cars behind that definitely aren't in those point-paying positions. So you will definitely see some more riskier moves coming through, and it's also a bit of a learning zone as well for drivers, because they have the opportunity to change things up and then change a strategy for the next qualifying session in the main race.
Yeah, so this is also an opportunity for these drivers to see how they run against each other in race conditions, especially on the medium tyres, because they're going to be one of our race tyres later on in the week, later on for the Grand Prix later on. So they're all going to be trying to see how they fare on those mediums in terms of pace, and whether that's going to make them adjust what they do for the start of the next start of the Grand Prix, or whether they feel they can get more comfortable. Oh, okay. Thank you for letting me know. But yeah, you hear my Discord notifications from me. Let me just turn them off. Should be formation that, yeah.
It is formation.
I forget that this skate at this league does formation hats, but here we are. Just shut that all back on. I'm surprised they can hear that, to be honest, because that's coming through my headphones. Just double check everything's off. Yeah, it's fine. So there we go. We're now on our formation lap. 16 drivers for this race this evening. A bit more of a grid than what we had in Vegas, so there's a bit more opportunity for action as always. But these guys are hard racers. These guys will fight to the bitter end. This isn't like what you find in the big leagues, where they're all of a sudden trying to just do DRS overtakes. They're going to do the boring ones. These guys will actually overtake at the most ridiculous of circumstances, but will make it work sometimes. Sometimes they won't. So we're interested in for a very exciting sprint race, as they all just get their tyres warmed up, get themselves comfortable with the circuit. They're all quite spread out as well in this session. So in this formation lap, so DJ TT might want to be careful of that, because once he gets on that grid, he'll just be sat there while he waits for the rest of the grid to form up. Do you know what? I've realised I've done something, Stig. Okay, hold on a second.
Well, Gliso deals with that. The cars are coming underneath the hotel now. And
God, Karen talking.
Well, the cars are coming through the hotel. Coming up around the second to last corner. There's still a bit of a gap there. Possible race strategies. There's going to be no race strategies. It's going to be a 0 stop to the end on these medium tyres, and I think everyone's on the mediums. Here we go. Everyone's going to get in their grid spots now. Cars lining up. Final wheel spins to get heat in those rear tyres, and Kalisa will have the race start for you.
Yep, so we will be getting underway with... a second, there you go, now I can see a grid. We will be getting underway with 5, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights for a 10-lap sprint race, and it's lights out, and away we go as DJ TT gets a decent start. JPS falls behind. It should fizzle as he goes around the outside. The Aston Martin moves his way into P2. JPS drops down to P3. There's been a bit of contact behind as TTV has dropped down to last place. As we go down towards the end of Sector 1, the McLaren of Marcel is looking to make a move on the Mercedes. The Mercedes has dropped two positions straight off the line there, and now he's about to drop 3 as the Mercedes is now losing out to Rampant Gamer down the straight. No DRS as of this moment as we keep going down further and further into the braking point we go. And that's a massive dive from the McLaren. Excellent job there. He keeps it clean though with the Aston Martin, who actually gives him room. Didn't need to give him room there, but the Aston Martin certainly done so. Marcel on an absolute charge through the first 2 sectors there as we go into sector 3 now. Excellent job from the McLaren.
Yeah, really good job there. Just taking the opportunities where it could. There's a little bit of argy-bargy from the Mercedes and the Ferrari behind, but they've sorted themselves out now. Marcel now on the charge for that lead.
Yeah, Marcel is now done everything he needed to off that line. DJTT has not got away at this stage. He continues on as we go through the end of lap 1, as the RB has a just over 6/10 lead, nearly 7/10 lead, as I say that, as we go through into turn 1 now. They all have kept it somewhat clean, but Gary Gator and Parkstar have dropped down the field as well. There has been a bit of contact earlier on, but no safety cars as of this moment. Down towards the hairpin now. Can Marcel use the DRS down this next straight to get by the RB as quickly as possible? DRS will now be enabled for the McLaren. He'll go down the straight. He will use the ERS. DJT will try to defend, but he will not have to do too much in terms of movement as the McLaren sits behind the Red Bull, dives up the inside of Rampant Gamer into the chicane. Can Ali Star get ahead? No, he cannot, as the Ferrari defends that very nicely there. It's going to get feisty and feistier. But here's our battle for the race lead. Marcel around the outside for the position, and he cannot make anything stick there as DJT outbreaks him and defends beautifully. Excellent job there from the RB. Going down into the triple right-hander. These top 4 has moved quite far clear, and actually there is a retirement of Verkelly in the other Ferrari now. Our first retirement of the session, but we continue on now. No safety cars, no VSC. He's gonna the race director has decided to continue on as it's a 4-way fight for the race lead at this stage.
4 of them taking the fastest lap there. They're all really pushing now. They've only got 8 laps to go. The Aston Martin and the Mercedes have really caught up to the back of the pack as well. But this time around, DJTT is going to be under a little bit more pressure because he's got more cars closer behind.
Yeah, he's going to be absolutely under pressure now because that attack from Marcel has opened up the door for our last time out race winner, Shoot Fizzle, and JPS in the Mercedes. Here comes Shoot Fizzle, Marcel, DJT, all 3 wide as we get an awful camera angle there. As they're all going to go simultaneous contact there from Marcel and DJT. DJT drops down the order, and that has completely changed the complexion of the race. Marcel is now leading the way as Shoot Fizzle goes up the inside. Our race leader from Las Vegas is going to try and get the race lead in the sprint in Abu Dhabi. Around the outside, it'll turn for the triple right-hander, but the McLaren gets enough of the run to send it into the braking point and manage to keep the position. We got an awful camera angle there, but we did just about see that instant happen as now the RB has dropped down to P6 and out of the sprint points at this stage.
Absolutely gutting scenes there for DJTT. He hadn't done anything wrong up until that point, but as soon as 2 cars get together that really want a position, that's where things get a bit hairy. So now, can Marcel hold off that Aston Martin? Hang on, he's just gone wide. He's gone completely wide through turn 3, and then Shoot Fizzle's up around the outside of the corner before the straight, and he's got the position. Is he going to have DRS as well? He is going to have DRS, so he's going to have that to defend. That puts Marcel in a really bad position against JPS, and then JPS goes past. Can Marcel come back in the braking zone? No, he can't. So in one straight alone, Marcel's lost 2 positions.
Yeah, Marcel absolutely distraught by that. Not getting the DRS has completely cost him. As Rampant Gamer has retired from the session, there's been an incident that has happened further down the order that's involved David in the Alpine and I don't know who else. I believe Gary Gator or Parkson might have been involved in that, and that has completely ruined the Ferraris' sprint weekend so far. Both Ferraris out of the session before the end of lap 4. Parkstart goes off the circuit of damage. So does David. No safety car's called. We're going to have a battle between Gary Gator and Handflap Kelly. Gary Gator has gained a position over the Aston Martin, but that is not for points at this stage. And now we go back to the battle of the race lead. 3 drivers fighting for that race lead. 4th and 5th are your DJT and Ali Star, who trying to defend from Pump Mantis, aiming to gain his point, get into the points for this sprint. But we'll remain focused on this battle between Shoot Fizzle, JPS, and Marcel.
Yeah, Marcel will be wanting to try and get back into that, into the higher podium positions, because he's not going to be happy with being pushed back as what he was. But DJTT has made up a position up into P4, so he'll be on the charge again to try and catch up with these lead pack, and he'll be wanting to see them battling away. Behind, the Red Bulls are fighting against each other. The Ali Star and Pump Mantis. Ali Star is still holding off Pump Mantis, but is going to go into the second DRS zone, and both of them have DRS because DJTT hasn't broken away at all. But I don't think Pump Mantis can be quite close enough there.
Yeah, the Red Bull just not quite close enough. He's got a very, very competitive teammate in terms of Ali Star, who has got already shown. Ali goes around the outside there. Pump Mantis tried to go around the outside, loses grip on the exits. That allows Rupsi Cola to get really close to him. And this guy, Neo, having to make an attack around the outside of Rupsi Cola, who gets a 3-second time penalty for going off the circuit. And that has really cost the Williams there in all of that. And Pump Mantis is very lucky to get away with staying within DRS at this stage. As now we go down towards the hairpin, towards as we start, go onto the back straight one more time. DRS will be enabled for JPS and Marcel. As we now go down, and it's just a long wait. It's just a long wait. You just got to wait until that breaking point for Shoot Fizzle. There's nothing really you can do against JPS, but JPS has been too far back there. As we go into the chicane, Pump Mantis makes his way into the points maybe against Ali Star, but we've got to continue looking at this battle for P1 and P2. As around the outside goes Marcel, he gets an excellent run, but JPS with the DRS is able to defend just enough as Shoot Fizzle maintains his lead, has no real squabbles with the 2 behind him, but the Mercedes having to defend from Marcel. It is really, really tight up front as all 3 drivers are really trying to get, well, Shoot Fizzle in his sense is trying to get away. JPS is having to do 2 jobs here of attack and defence. Marcel is absolutely on the back of both of them.
Yeah, Jay is not letting that Aston Martin run away at all. He's completely on the back of that car all the way through Sector 3 there. Can Jay make anything work on that first straight? I think that's where he needs to do it. He's tried. That Aston Martin is so slippery in a straight line, it seems.
Yeah, that absolutely is very, very slippery and straight line. Much differences between setups potentially. As Pump Mantis has retired from the session on the exit of turn 2. He might have caught that inside curb too much, and that is his race over after fighting on the edge of points. But he'll be able to come back in the main race. JPS takes the race lead as he goes into the lead for the first time this race, actually. The Mercedes is now has got a 2/10 advantage over Shoot Fizzle, but for how much longer? That DRS for the Aston Martin, will it be enough? I don't think he is looking to get by at this stage. Meanwhile, Marcel is looking to get by for P2. He goes around down the inside, and as Shoot Fizzle can't really do too much there. He'll cut back to the inside though for the triple right-hander. There's contact, there's banging of wheels, but they're still side by side through into the hotel section. This is JPS's chance to guarantee race victory, but he can't do enough to get out that 1 second window while those 2 are side by side. But Shoot Fizzle managed to defend just about.
What Marcel really wants is to slow shoot down enough just so that he doesn't have the DRS, but then use the DRS to slingshot forward back into Jay's DRS. But this time it looks like Shoot's had a really good sector one. He's back on the charge of that Mercedes. Let's have a look and see what happens through this DRS zone. He's got the inside. He's got a much better run there through the corner. He's a little bit of contact on the exit, and it looks like the Mercedes got a much better run. Is that going to mean that the McLaren behind is going to have an even better run? It looks like they're going to be all very, very close up into the hairpin. Here goes Marcel. He's up the inside of the Aston Martin. Is he going to have a go at the Mercedes? He's going to consider it. He's not been able to do anything about the Mercedes, but he's back on the outside of the Aston Martin. There's a little bit of contact, and there goes Shoot, because he's caught the inside of that McLaren. That's going to put him at risk to DJDT.
Yeah, and that's absolutely unfortunate for Shoot Fizzle. He's now over a second and a half adrift from this battle for the lead, and now he will have to make up all that that again with only just over 2 laps to go. Marcel is still right up close to JPS. 6/10 is the gap. He'll be able to use DRS to get closer and closer, but the Mercedes seems to have ultimate pace between the two of them throughout this race. McLaren, despite having an absolutely extraordinary start, has not been able to get away from get away, and has now dropped behind the Mercedes. The Mercedes is trying to get away, but that slipstream effect is too powerful for the Mercedes to do much about the McLaren. He's also trying to recharge his ERS at the same time to try and give him the best opportunity to defend down this long straight we go on to now. This is almost 2 kilometers with a chicane in between of straight flat running. He has got to manage here. While Marcel is not going to be able to get anything done here, I do believe we get another awful camera angle as we go into the chicane. But he will have perfect opportunity now. He's now only 3.5 tenths behind the Mercedes as we go down the back straight one more towards the hairpin. Can the McLaren go around the outside? He looks to the outside. Mercedes of JPS defends, but he's unable to do anything there. But who's this? Shoot Fizzle. He's back in the battle now. As he gets closer and closer, as these two are playing a bit of cat and mouse games, if anything. Lock up there, massive lock up there from the Aston Martin. But it is all back to how it was just about 2 laps ago. Massive oversteer there from the McLaren. That could allow Shoot Fizzle by. But it's not going to be enough there as we go into the final corner. But the Aston Martin unable to do anything. And this has cost them significant amount of time to JPS as we head on to the final lap of the race. They're through turn 1 and turn 2. This could be the opportunity for the Aston Martin as the McLaren's rear tyres are about to go off. The Aston Martin down the straight, back straight towards the hairpin. Can he get the move done? He will have DRS though if he makes this move, because he was behind in a DRS detection. But it seems like the McLaren is running out of options here. The Aston Martin down the straight, DRS, ERS, and he gets by. But Marcel will have DRS for that back straight there once more. But is his tyres too far gone?
There's an absolutely huge lock up from the Aston Martin there. The McLaren goes wide. He's going to have the DRS, and so is the Aston Martin on the Mercedes. But I don't think the McLaren's going to be have anything to do. As you know, forget that, because he's just got up the inside. Can he hold that? The outside line can be beneficial here, so he could bring the Aston Martin back in. The Aston Martin stayed around the outside. He's going to have the inside for the triple right-hander, and they made contact again in the braking zone, and it looks like the Aston Martin has made it through. It's now very difficult to make any kind of manoeuvres around sector 3, so it might be all said and done, but don't call out any kind of moves now, because up the inside looks Marcel, but it doesn't look like he's going to have anything there to do. JPS gets the win.
Yeah, excellent job from JPS, perfectly managed in those last couple of laps. The Mercedes wins the sprint race for the second for Abu Dhabi, and that will set him up perfectly going into the main qualifying and main race. Shoot Fizzle comes home in P2 with and bags 4 points. Marcel in the McLaren with third. DJT will go will finish fourth in the RB, with this guy Neo rounding out the top 5. And get a single point for the Mercedes outfit. The rest of the grid, I didn't get a chance to see that, but that's our top 5 for the sprint, and all getting points. Gary Gators, your driver of the day, for the sprint race, and now we've got an 18-minute qualifying session to come, and this could only get more interesting. Whew,
Yeah, ignore those points.
Yeah, they don't matter. Well, if we'll switch to a, it still shows on the other screen anyway. But yeah, excellent job from JPS there. He actually dropped down initially, but he came back through from P5 to get a good win in the end, and it seemed quite comfortable in those last 2 laps, don't you think?
Yeah, very. I mean, for Jay, it was completely circumstantial because the McLaren and the Aston started banging wheels.
Yeah, Robbins racing is what they say in touring car, not in this. You don't often see it in F1 cars, but
Yeah, they've got body panels over there.
yeah, they got body panels over there. But well, at the end of the day, these drivers, they want to race hard. But at the end of the day, it does not matter. We get some exciting racing, and those 3 really set it all on alight in that sprint race for the race win. And now it's time for qualifying.
No break at all, straight into quali.
Yeah, straight in there. 18-minute session to go, and 16 drivers all looking with an extra 6 minutes to try and get onto that pole position slot. Which for some drivers that were really far down the field, you'll desperately need after losing out on already a couple points. Yes, it's only 5 points, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 points, but it is crucial points in the standings because you could win a championship by a single point. So every point matters in whatever circumstance you look at it at. As everyone will start funneling out the pits to get a first run in.
Yeah, every point is worthwhile here, and put it this way: there's going to be some drivers after that which are going to be absolutely seething. So this is going to get tasty. So if you want your popcorn, go and get it now.
Yeah, it's going to absolutely get feisty here. These drivers, now we've had a qualifying session in some form to get used to the car, get used to the track in a 1-lap session. A couple of them didn't go out for laps, but we'll get a time in. But they will be a bit more in tune now. They've had a 10-lap sprint race and a 12-minute qualifying session. What can they do with 18 minutes and 29 laps? A bit of a longer session, these ones.
And a pit stop.
And a pit stop involved. They're all gonna. That's where strategy comes into it. When do you pit in comparison to your rivals?
Yeah, I mean, it depends if you're in a train, really. If you're in a big gaggle of cars, then you're going to want to get out of that as soon as possible. So a nice undercut can be beneficial. But if you're looking to make gains on cars, overcut, it doesn't always pay off. But if you know there's traffic behind, it can do.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is at the end of the day, if you want to be out of that train in some way or form, you don't want to be stuck in just a DRS train constantly. You want to be trying to get ahead and get away from it, because someone could pit a couple laps early, come out ahead, and all of a sudden just try and hold everyone up. But it'll be very difficult to do so on this game, but you don't really want to deal with that hassle, so you've got to be on it and try and get away from the pack as fast as possible. You do not want to be held up when your rivals are so close to you. Actually, I've just noticed Parkster has gone off the circuit. I wonder if he on his lap had some sort of issue. I wasn't looking at the screen. I was looking at IBS at the time, so I wasn't really. But it did look like he just completely backed out of his lap in the end.
Yeah, coming into the chicane, he just locked up, went wide, completely missed the apex, and that kick Sauber just pulled off to the side, let everyone through. Interesting colour combination on that kick, isn't it? It's like a Volkswagen Golf is dressed up as a mystery machine.
That is a very interesting analogy, but it works. But yeah, he's gone very slowly though, hasn't he? He's really slowed up. Anyway, Hamlin Kelly crosses the line to set the first lap of the session, 23.7 from the Aston Martin. See what people can do to beat that. 24.0 from Buckle in the Ferrari. But the Sauber just went very... I don't know he had loads of cars, but even after that, he was going at a very slow speed. Shoot Visual not able to top his teammate of Hamlin Kelly's time. as he goes to 23.8, a tenth and a half slower than the then Hamflap Kelly. JPS currently on a flying lap, I do believe, as you go
He
round
is,
in
yeah.
the final corner. To set a time of 22.8, 9 tenths clear of
That's
the
solid.
Aston Martin. Very good time to start the session. As we go, let me just quickly get up the lap time. That'll tell.
Carrying on from the absolute high of the sprint race win,
Yeah, it is really
JPS
good.
just puts it on provisional pole.
Yeah, absolutely. It really must have boosted his confidence in some way, because that is what he needed. David 23.4, 6 tenths off the Mercedes, but Marcel is currently on a lap, one of our fighters in the sprint race. 52.9 in the first two sectors. Where does the McLaren put himself in comparison to his rival of the Mercedes? Shoot Fizzle not having the best of first laps, like we were talking about earlier, being quite far behind. Though he's basically his rivals for this weekend, for this race week. As we go round the final sector towards the penultimate corner into the final corner, where does Marcel put himself as we go up towards the line? 23.1, 3 tenths off of what the Mercedes had done, but he's puts himself into P2 in a very nice position for a opening lap.
It's a nice banker to have on the board.
So at this stage, what would in your mindset, what would you be looking at for to do in these early stages? What would you would you not be pushing? Would you not be pushing too hard? Or
I mean, I'd be putting in in the early stages of a qualifying session. You want to have a nice lap on the board. So you want to push, but you don't want to be pushing 110%. You want to be pushing probably about 98%, and then you've got a little bit of margin to then call upon later on. And then if you've got that margin to use later on, and if you need to use it, you've got it. But a good solid banker just in case you have an issue on your next lap. And also maybe give yourself enough time to do another lap. That's always something that I personally do, but every driver has their own ways of working.
yeah, some people really work well in terms of under pressure, one lap, single lap. Some people,
One shot.
yeah, some people always love a little bit of extra wiggle room just in case it's a little mistake. He gives himself a little bit of it helps their mindset a bit, because that can always be, they could always just do it in one lap, but they doing that a couple minutes earlier certainly doesn't hurt in some way, shape or form, because by the time you get to the end of the session, the track's evolution's peaked. So if you do it 2 minutes earlier, it will not be of too much effect, and you'll probably still hit the same sort of lap times. Gary Gator, out of kind of nowhere though, the Sauber 22.7.
Yeah.
He was very quiet in our sprint quality, but
I think he struggled a bit in sprint quali, and he definitely struggled in the race because he's at the back, and then all of a sudden he's just put the mystery machine on pole.
Yeah, I mean, he.
Oh, okay. What the?
What have you done?
Gary Gator was just on his side in the pit lane.
He's just done.
Huh?
What?
Yeah, pit entry. The two mystery machines were together. Gary went to go up the inside of his teammate. His teammate, I think, was clearly not looking, and then all of a sudden, one went ghosted, one didn't, and one was on its side. So that's why Gary's still on track. He got pushed out onto the track again. So
I mean,
nice one, EA.
Great game. I was to be honest, I was a bit confused about what Pump Mantis was doing off the circuit, to be honest. So I was kind of over there. So then I was on a complete wrong end of the circuit, but yeah. Oh well, nice, great game physics. We're gonna continue on. No, Gary probably has a little bit of damage, and probably has no. Yeah, he has no fuel left. He's got to go around on low fuel mode, and that is the most infuriating thing if you're a if you're a racing driver going around at 60 miles an hour while they're very close there. Gary Gator getting in the way of Rampant Gamer. Gary Gator getting in the way of Rampant Gamer there on his lap. The Ferrari might want to have a little word with the stewards after the session. if he felt impeded there. He definitely looked it. 53-0 in the first 2 sectors. But what he's there to do for the Ferrari, because now he's got to get a very good lap on the ball. He's got to continue on, shrug it off like it's nothing, and get across to that line without an invalidation. That's the crucial point. You do not want to be invalidating in qualifying, because you know that will do. And as we say, that commentator's curse hits his luck. I say that, and that's very unfortunate for the Ferrari, who really needed the confidence boost after a retirement in the sprint race. Same with his teammate Ruckel, who both
Rampant Gamer.
Yeah.
If you want to raise a complaint, feel free to send it at we do not care at commentators.com. Apologies for
and
Elisto's terrible luck on you there.
And if you want to file a official report, please go to please don't curse me anymore at outlook.com. So yeah, you don't want to. Yeah, so I don't apologise. It's part of racing. You're going to get a commentator's curse at some point in the season if you're anyone in this league. But anyway, someone who's on a lap at his start in the Red Bull, currently on his first, I don't know if it's his first attempt, but it's his first attempt at first time trying to get a full time on the board in any way, shape or form. The Red Bull going through sector 3 now. Through the triple right hander, it's flat through the first 2 parts, braking as you come out of the exit of the second part. So where does the Red Bull put himself in this this halfway point of the session, really, as we go round the final couple of corners? The Red Bull just got to now this to get a banker on the board. 23.6 for the Red Bull, puts himself into P9 ahead of Hamflap Kelly, but behind Marchmeister in the Haas, who was very quiet in the sprint race. I didn't really see what happened to the man, but the founder of the league. But he's doing quite middle of the road position right now. As we go into the final third of the session. Would you like a commentary lap of our founder?
Yeah, right. Why not? Nice and clean around turn 1 there. Like I say, absolutely flat out around turn 3 now, keeping it nice and tidy, using up all of that track. This is probably going to be March's his last lap. So this is going to be the one that counts. Keeping it nice and clean, hitting all the apexes that he needs to be. Got that DRS wide open now. Going to be going up through the gears, flat to the floor on this. What is it, like a kilometre long straight?
Yeah, it's about that.
Braking really hard now, turning in again. Oh, a little bit of an oversteer whopper there because he went up too high on the curb. There's not much to say about this one, to be honest. Just nice and clean. Coming up to the second hairpin here, and yeah, keeping it nice and clean, hitting all of the apexes he needs to, using up all the track that he can. Gonna take it nice and easy around the hotel section. Sector 3 can be so easy to make a mistake through here. Be careful not to invalidate, keeping it well away from those lines. And I think that's what he needs right now. Oh, okay. He's coming into the pits. Obviously wasn't happy with that one. Coming to get some new tyres, maybe.
Yeah, that's a very interesting. I guess he wants to get those new tyres. I guess it was more of just a test to see how you do. Because you're going to go 5 minutes. You've got 5 minutes left of the session. You really want to be stacking on a new set of tyres for this last part of the session. Because otherwise you'll just be completely out of sync and you won't be able to get a final run in, if anything. So the Haas comes into the pits and everyone. That's actually, Marcel has retired in the pits once more. It's quite interesting. Maybe he thinks that 23-1 is the absolute best he can do, because he kind of retired with a similar sort of time in the sprint quali session in the pit lane. So bit interesting there from the McLaren. But we're going to continue on now with David, who's I don't know if he's on a lap. He's on a lap now as the Alpine goes through the first couple of corners, but actually I don't believe he is. Instead, actually, he's backed off. I thought it might have been on that because he's 24 seconds down, but the Alpine maybe just giving himself a little bit more time to later in the session just to put him in sync with everyone else for their final runs, as everyone seems to be taking it a bit easy at this stage. But with everyone now coming around, basically we've got half the field in the pit lane. We've only got a couple minutes left in session, about 3 minutes 40, so we should be starting to see people come out the pits now. I believe Parkster is actually, no, he's 2.6 seconds down to, he's not on a lap. Is there someone who's actually on one? I think Vuckle might be. Vuckle's just set at 23.9. 2,000
DJTT is about to start one.
Okay, so Vuckle just set a lap time there to put himself 2,000s clear of Rampant Gamer. As DJT starts his lap going through turn 1, there we go. I'll go on board with him now as we go through turn 2 and 3, flat out through turn 3 as he's got Sauber to his right, completely out of his way. As we go into the hairpin now, 17.6 in the first sector as we continue on now down the straight. DRS now open for the RB as he's now got basically a kilometre long, like you say, 1,900 metres of flat out running in sector 2 pretty much. Gets a massive, gets his braking zone massively wrong there, locks completely up and then ends up almost off circuit and just has to back out at that point. You've had that much of a mistake and you just decide, let's just get recharged and go again. This guy Neo, I believe, is on a lap. Yes, he is. As we head down the straight, DRS now enabled for the Mercedes. As he just now has to wait and wait for that braking zone to appear. It does now into the braking zone. Gets caught up on the curb quite nicely there. Gets a bit hesitant there on throttle though as he tries to exit. Trying not to get any sort of traction loss that will cost him time all the way down the straight. You'll rather lose a few hundreds than a few thousands. Over 3 tenths up through that long hairpin, if anything. And this is a very good time. A good improvement for the Mercedes. He'll need a lot more of an improvement though as we go through sector 3. Goes through there quite nicely. Very clean lap, if anything, from the Mercedes. Doesn't use up all the exit runoff in that part just after the hotel. Through the final corner now up towards the line. Doesn't use up all the exit curb either. P6 23.2, 6 tenths clear of what he'd done previously, and about 100th behind what the Alpine of David once done.
Both respectable positions for the Mercedes team there. P3 and P7 currently.
Yeah, it's very respectable. The team doing very well this weekend, if anything, in terms of positions. They both scored points in the sprint race, P1 and P5, for the two of them. So they're looking to score even more and be the highest and outscore their rivals of Aston Martin, who lead the championship at this stage. So can the Mercedes team do what they need to do, considering there's only considering Shoot Fizzle is on provisional pole? It'll be interesting to see whether he can or not. A couple drivers are coming round to Gary Gato goes off at the final corner. He's invalidated his lap time, so he will not be improving at this stage. We will go on with this guy Neo. Oh, that's not right one. This guy Neo, who's currently on a lappy 6.5 seconds down, so we try and find someone else. Rampant Gamer, is he on a lap? I believe he is. Going through sector 3. Can a Ferrari make the improvements necessary to climb himself up the table as we go round that final couple of corners? Where does Rampant Gamer put himself? Up towards the line, 22.7, puts himself P2, slots himself between the Sauber of Gary and Shoot Fizzle, 300ths behind the Aston Martin. Very good lap there from the Ferrari, but JPS coming up to the line, puts himself P3. That is 4 drivers within a 10th at the moment. Could we make it 5? As we've got Marchmeister, who is on a lap, currently in P11. And that's the fastest time for Shoot Fizzle. Goes a little bit quicker to extend his advantage. Can Marchmeister top it? No, he can't. He goes P6 23.1, slots himself behind the McLaren of Marcel. As David is the last driver on a lap. Going round the final couple of corners. Can Alpine improve from P8? Up towards the line he goes. 23.2. He does improve, but he doesn't improve his position. I said that will leave Shoot Fizzle with pole position as our race leader from Las Vegas has set himself up very nicely for the second round in Abu Dhabi. So, Stig, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, there you go. I didn't know if you cut out or something, but
Yeah, no, sorry.
yeah, that's fine. So it's that time between the top four, very close, 10th and a half between the top four, less than a 10th between the top three. It's very close up there. What's your thoughts on that?
It's a big contrast to what we saw in sprint quali, because sprint quali we saw much bigger gaps. And just suppose that everyone had a bit more track knowledge in order to push a little bit harder. And like I say, at the start of the session, it was going to get feisty, and it did. So let's just see how the race goes. Is there going to be another formation lap? Yeah, there is, isn't there?
Yeah, there will be.
We've got a little bit of rest, and then we'll be straight into it, and Callisto will have lights out for you.
Yeah, so everyone, I believe, will either be starting on the medium or hard compound tyres.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so they'll all be. If you want to do the alternate, you'll be on the hards, because I don't think there'll be many people wanting to do that sort of thing, because they will be slow. Like, they might feel they'll be slow off the line and then they'll drop positions. But if you're one of the drivers further down the order, it might be a bit more worth the risk. Like DJT, our pole position man for the sprint race, was he's down in last position. Just didn't really get the improvements needed, and just he's now really struggling. He didn't get any points in the sprint race, no less, after that collision with the McLaren of Marcel. So where does the RB go from here? He needs to make a number of positions to get anywhere near decent a number of points to come out this race weekend. If anything positive, really.
The alternate strategy for someone at the back is probably go to some softs and hope for an early safety car, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, you would really hope for that in that sense, but if it doesn't happen, you could really struggle with that sort of if there is no safety car, no VSC. We saw a couple of incidents throughout the sprint race, but no safety car, no VSC was called. So it's only a matter of time before before we see something of that formula end up on our screens. But I've just had messages. Pole position and race win, 2 in a row. Has we just been told? I got a league from our pole sitter. He's about to find out. It wasn't easy sailing for him in Vegas, but he could certainly do it again. Shoot Fizzle will lead the way for the formation lab ahead of the Ferrari of Rampant Gamer. JPS in P3 with Gary Gator P4, Marcel P5, Marchmeister P6, Alpine of TTVS VES in P7. I mean, 7 different constructors are in our top 7. David and this guy Neo, Pump Mantis, round out our top 10 with Rupsi Cola, Ali Star, Handful Up Kelly, Vuckle, Barkster, and DJT as the rest of our grid. Everyone, I believe, apart from Gary Gator, Ali Star, and Parkster, are all on the mediums with those 3 on hards. If you're Gary Gator in this situation, you really cannot afford to lose positions. If anything, you'll need to keep up with this top 3 and just use their DRS. And try and let them waste their tyres a little bit as they can't pull away from you and come back on that medium stint later on. Yes, you won't be able to go for any sort of undercut, which is a clear strength for most drivers. But if he can manage his tyres right, he will be able to get a big advantage towards the end. We're coming around sector 3 now. Quite big gaps between everyone. If you're Shoot Fizzle right now, you really want to close up these gaps. You don't want to be pushing at this stage. You really need everyone to be closer than this.
Yeah, you want everyone to be way closer than this. But Shoot Fizzle's just riding on that fury of losing out that sprint win. He's going to be trying to get that race win, but he's got very different drivers around him now. He's got Rampant Gamer, he's got Gary Gator, he's got even March there. Where's oh, JPS is still there. Right, okay, so you got the originals. Oh, DJTT at the back. What happened to DJTT?
Yeah, I don't think he got a good timing or any time in that matter. It's only RB just not being able to do really much there. But
Oh, he invalidated his last lap.
yeah, okay. So we're gonna go 3, 4, 5 red lights for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix for Neo Racing League, and it's lights out of the way. We go for round 2. Rampant Gamer did not get the best of starts there, so he slots in behind Shoot Fizzle as he maintains his lead. JPS maintains P3 ahead of Gary Gator, Marcel Marchmeister, all's line of Sterling in the top 6. However, this guy now has made his way up to P10 ahead of Pump Mantis. Now we're going to go down towards the hairpin. There's side-by-side action between the 3 wide there, actually, between Gary Gator and Marcel and Marchmeister as they go. JPS has dropped down to P6. Marcel doing what he done in the sprint race and coming through a couple positions. They're going to go 2 and 3 behind as there's going to be 3 wide into the chicane. Can TTVS get ahead of the Mercedes driver? Yes, he can. Marchmeister has dropped down to P8 behind David. In the process, it is all chaos in the sense of the start, but the Alpines having a promising start there, but the top 2 managed to keep their position, to keep their head firmly on as we go round into sector 3.
Yeah, there's a lot of dive bombs going on there. I thought it was going to be someone spinning at the chicane, but everyone managed to get through, luckily. We've had no real issues. So let's see what happens when DRS gets enabled. But what was that? Oh no, it's just someone taking out the pole. I thought someone's wing was flying. But no, someone's taking out the pole. Standard procedures. And that's already a penalty for Pump Mantis. What is he doing? This early is at lap 1.
3 warnings in a lap. That is absolutely heartbreaking for the Red Bull. But someone who's actually had a very promising start, DJT in the RB, excellent start, 16th to 11th in the opening lap. Can he manage to build upon this? Vuckel is in the pit lane, I believe, with damage. That is very unfortunate for a Ferrari driver who's had no luck this weekend. This evening even. Shoot Fizzle, Rampant Gamer, going to go down straight DRS for the Ferrari behind. Can he make a move on the Aston Martin, who won last time out in Vegas? Down the inside goes the Ferrari, and he takes the lead as we go onto the back straight. He will get DRS though back on the Ferrari, but he will have to be careful of Marcel behind and the sailboat of Gary Gator, who's managed to maintain P4 in all this. Around the outside go Shoot Fizzle. Can he make the move back on the Ferrari and reclaim first position? No, he doesn't at this stage, as the Rampant Gamer manages to just get enough of a run through the hairpin as Marcel is not really sticking quite to the back of Shoot Fizzle through there. He didn't really have the straight line speed, potentially running a bit higher downforce than the Aston Martin in front. But it continues on. Rampant Gamer, who after lap 4 on the sprint, before the end of lap 4 on the sprint, had retired from the session, is now leading the way onto lap 3.
DJTT's made it up to P11 now with the fastest lap there, so it'd be interesting to see where the VCOB driver ends up later on in the race.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see whether he can make his way through. I think he switched back to the mediums though, so he's not doing it all just on the hard tyres. As we go down the straight once more, DRS will be enabled for Shoot Fizzle, but he will have to be careful of the McLaren behind once more, who's going to have DRS. They're going to go 3 wide into the chicane. This is now the chance for Marcel. He makes the move in the Aston Martin. He almost made the move on the Ferrari as well. He gets by for P1. Bit of oversteer there from the McLaren to Ferrari as we go down the straight towards the hairpin, next hairpin now, as can Ferrari and Rampant Gamer get back by. He's going to go to the outside. Can he get the move stuck? He's going to be alongside in the hairpin, but the McLaren cuts him off there and the Ferrari has to concede as the McLaren, who started a couple of positions back, 4 positions back, has now taken the race lead. Shoot Fizzle, our pole position man, has dropped 2 positions, but 6 drivers are all together for this race lead. TTV and JPS joining the back of the queue as these 4 continue to squabble at every single opportunity.
That's excellent commitment there from the McLaren driver. But what Marcel needs to be wary of is burning out those rear tyres like what he did in the sprint. He doesn't want to be lacking towards the end of this stint. Unless he's just planning on pushing and coming in for a really early stop, he doesn't want to be doing that too much.
Yeah, he absolutely doesn't, because now he needs to just continue to be careful. However, the Rampant Gamer is right on the back of the McLaren. Continuing on now, going down straight, he will have DRS, he will be able to get by, but will it be 3 wide? It will be 3 wide, as the Ferrari has a little bit of contact there with the McLaren. Thought the McLaren's front wing was completely out of sight. He couldn't, there was a lunge to get away with it, but that, while that has made him allowed him the lead, that has lost him momentum in the chance to get away, because the McLaren is now coming back at the Ferrari. He takes the lead once more. The Aston Martin around the outside for P2. Can he make the move stick? As yes, he does. So Shoot Fizzle back into the front running 2 positions. As now he's going to try and set back ahead and get back ahead of the McLaren. As Sauer Gary Gator, he's just quite literally sat there right now. He doesn't need to make anything much here. He knows that. He knows he's on the different compound tyres. He just needs to stick with them and just manage his pace at this stage.
Well, if I think Gary retired in the sprint, so if he had the stream on, he saw how Marcel and Fizzle were racing in the sprint before. So they know that this could get hairy towards the end. There's no point rushing anything. There's 24 laps to go.
Yeah, it's a long race. We're basically halfway through what the sprint race was at this stage. Yep. So we've got a significantly longer time to get everything done and dusted here. You'll see this with everyone's driving, because they're not pushing to the extent they were in the sprint. Shoot Fizzle down the inside into the chicane. Marcel runs a bit wide there though, and however that has allowed him to get back a bit of a run into the second part, continue to be alongside. But we come into the shot now as Shoot Fizzle looks to take the lead. Marcel has now dropped position, not just to Rampant Gamer, to Gary Gator as well. The Sauber has moved his way up to P3, but the Ferrari is trying to make a move on the Shoot Fizzle, and he unfortunately doesn't manage to do so, as there's a bit of contact there. JPS trying to send it up the inside of both Marcel and Gary Gator, and that was a very clumsy move there from the Mercedes. He drops down to P7 as everyone is in this train, as everyone is trying to fight their way through to get to the front, but it is very difficult here as you've got drivers attacking and defending, trying to move left, right and centre throughout sector 3. But there's been a bit of a gap opening there now. Shoot Fizzle has pulled away 3/4 second to Rampant Gamer. While it's not DRS, this is really, really beneficial, because it will make his time a lot easier going down towards that first chicane. Towards that chicane between the 2 DRS zones. Can the Aston Martin pull away even further? He does. He gets over a second. But it was after the DRS detection point.
Yeah, but he's used a lot of VRS to do that. But then again, Ferrari doesn't really have anything. Gary looking at doing a move, but then he doesn't. It leaves him open to Marcel. Marcel goes on the inside of the hairpin. He gets pushed out wide on the exit, out onto the second DRS straight. Was that an overtake that was done off the track by the McLaren? That would possibly get investigated by the stewards. Gary's been overtaken now by the Alpine and TTV. That's been a heap of positions that have changed in the past 3 corners.
And there's another side bomb from DJT. Sorry, I cut in, but Gary Gator has now dropped down position. And DJT, massive dive bomb there. That might be looked at. One should. This guy Neo then has a problem with the Sauber. The Sauber getting dive bomb left, right, and centre here. As the driver on the Hard, who did not want to get caught up in any sort of incidents, has now dropped down to P9. As a couple of drivers now drop into the pits. DJT, one of them, he's got damage. So that will be very, very unfortunate from the man who sat on pole for our sprint session. But
Yeah, that was a move that didn't need to happen. DJT can only blame himself there. Just not worth it at all. But out front, it looks like the Aston Martin no longer has that 1 second advantage, and the Ferrari behind actually has DRS. So we're going to see this group starting to come back together as the Aston Martin obviously ran out of ERS a little bit.
Yeah, the Aston Martin really just trying to pull away from the script. He's actually got a second gap at this stage. Yes, the Ferrari has DRS, but if he can manage to pull it away in sector 3 when the Ferrari's only 9/10 away, it really, really could end up being a very dominant victory for Shoot Fizzle. But Ramper Gamer is going to try and close in on these next throughout sector 3. He needs to try and make sure he can get back towards him before the DRS zone, because second he loses DRS like he has now, he's out of that 1 second window. It could be game, set and match for the Aston Martin. He's done everything right. He's done everything he needed to at this stage. Massive amount of oversteer there from Ramper Gamer, who actually comes into the pits actually instead. I thought it was oversteer, but maybe he was going for a pit lane. And now that Ferrari has now let the McLaren of Marcel and the Alpine of TTV, yes, loose and ready to go after the Aston Martin. But they need to work together here a little bit, because otherwise that race victory will continue to slip further and further from their grasp if they fight too hard.
That is a very early pit stop from the Ferrari and the Mercedes, and that is just a generic pit stop. There is no damage on either of those cars, so I'm a little bit surprised by that one, because that's about 5 laps early. They're going to have to take those hards a very long way. Right, now, coming up into the hairpin, we've got the McLaren, which is under pressure from the Mercedes of JPS. JPS coming back into this race a little bit. He's going to have DRS again. Is he going to even have the slipstream from that Alpine ahead? He might do, actually. He's got the move done way before the braking zone. Marcel's coming back a little bit. He's going to have a look around the outside, but he's not going to be anywhere near close enough. So JPS there, coming back into the race a little bit. He's up on the podium.
Yeah, JPS, after having not the best of starts, if anything, he's down in P7 as the at one point in the race. He's now come through fairly clean enough. He did actually have a little bit of contact a couple laps ago, but he's managed to get back through and now put himself in P3 as TTV and Marcel both come to the pits for regular pit stops. And Marcel's retired.
Marcel and the Red Bull have just driven straight into the pit lane. They've just driven straight into the pit lane wall.
They completely missed their turning point, and that's completely turned the race on its head. Safety cars being deployed. This will allow the drivers up front to take a cheap little pit stop, but this has completely ruined Marcel's chances, who just went into the pits too hard. Pump Mantis is very lucky not to fall off the same fate of the McLaren, because he's now, even though he has damage, he's still in this race. He's managed to change his front wing, but the Red Bull will have it all to do throughout the rest of the race.
Okay, so where are we going to see drivers now? So Rampant Gamer and this guy Neo they pitted the lap before, so they are going to have no benefit from this safety car at all, because Shoot Fizzle, JPS, Gary Gator, March, Ali Starr, Roopsy Cola are all going to have 3 pit stops on them.
Yeah, that's absolutely unfortunate. It's just the luck of the draw sometimes. You get a bit lucky, you get unlucky. It is what it is, but they're less. But it's just completely cost them too. And everyone else who has pitted in terms of position, Marcel and Pump Mantis, just both. I think Pump Mantis must have just kind of followed Marcel. You're kind of getting this bit of tunnel vision at times, trying to follow drivers. And you end up just following a driver into the pit lane, taking their braking point, thinking they're going to do it right, and they both ended up in the wall.
Pump Mantis tried to avoid. So as you see the pit entry, Marcel hit the wall on the left. Pump Mantis tried to avoid and ended up hitting the wall on the right. So
okay.
It was out of sympathy, really.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate there from the Red Bull. But luckily for him, he's still in the race and he can make something of these next 19 laps or so. However, it'll be all up to see whether TTV will come out in P2 in the end, I believe.
Yeah, yes, it looks like
Just
it.
about, just about. It cuts off JPS in insurance, but the Alpine has actually benefited quite significantly from these pit stops, as he's now in the best position out of the drivers who pitted previously, and he's right behind the Aston Martin of Shoot Fizzle. So our new order is Shoot Fizzle leading, TTVS in P2, JPS in P3, Gary Gator P4, Rampant Gamer P5, Marchmeister will be P6, Rubsy Cola in P7, P8 for the RB of DJTT. Ali Stein P9, this guy Neo rounds out the top 10 with David Fuckle, Handflap Kelly, Parkster, and Pump Mantis being our 15 drivers remaining in the Grand Prix, Marcel being our only retirement. Let's have a quick look though at penalties. We've got a couple 3-second time penalties, a couple 6-second time penalties. TTV, yes. Rampant Gamer, this guy Neo, and Pump Manis all having 3-second time penalties. DJT and Parkster having 6. With over half the race to go, you certainly could look to have more, which could be worrying for the drivers who. Now the grid's bunched back up. We've got to try and do some work here to get those gaps.
Yeah, the Aston Martin was just teetering on that DRS point, but now he's got to do all of that work again. So
Yeah.
you can't help but think that Shoot Fizzle's going to be kicking in himself a little bit, but at the same time, there was nothing he could have done.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he managed to make his life a little bit easier in those couple laps, but it could be worse for him. He's still leading the way at the end of the day, but he's now got to deal with a defence, quite a big defence, because DTV, yes, 5 positions gained so far this race, has at this stage been very quick, and he's not going to be an easy man to pull away from. Shoot Fizzle has. Shoot Fizzle needs to try and get some good pace, get away very quickly. He needs to hope JPS fights the Alpine, if anything. That's good to know, Shoot. I'm not going to read that one out on the stream, the second message, but I know. So that's good. So it'll be interesting to see your pace on the hards, but I'm not going to read out that second message. But very good. But we'll see what your pace is like in comparison to the Alpine, the Mercedes, the Sauber, and the Ferrari behind. We actually have 8 different teams, 8 different teams in the top 8, showing how evenly matched teams are in this field. Just they're all able to get points as quickly as possible. Safety car will be in this lap. You've got to be prepared to shoot. Or safety car is in the lap. This lap, you need to make sure you're not talking to me. You're focused on that racetrack. So half the race to go. Can Aston Martin pull away, or will the Alpine manage to get by, or will even the Mercedes get by? It's going to be all pedal to the metal as we go. Around for the next lap of lap 12. Now, just a bit of waiting. Stick, would you like to take us away from this one?
Yeah, right. Right. Shoot is now backing up the rest of the pack around the hotel section. I was going to say castle section, that's the wrong track. Penultimate corner now. Everyone just waiting for that last moment, and he's gone. No, it was a bit of a dummy. He's now gone. Right, TTV going to be right on the back of that gearbox of that Aston Martin. Coming up to around the first corner now. Is there going to be anything going on further behind? It doesn't look like it. It looks like everyone's made it cleanly through that restart. No DRS for this first lap, though, remember. So we're gonna probably not see anything too hefty on the straight, but we'll see what happens because there's still the slipstream, and TTV is 4/10 behind our leader. He's right in the slipstream now. He's coming up to the braking zone. It looks like he's gaining. He's gaining. He's gaining. He's not going to have a look though. Is the car behind going to have a look? No, the mystery machine stays in line. Up around into the next DRS zone. Of course, no DRS, like I said before. Getting as close to the wall as possible, trying to break up that slipstream, but it's not going to stop TTV at all. Doesn't look like we're going to have any kind of moves on this lap. Is there going to be anything further back? Doesn't look like it. So sticking with these top three then, coming around the final sector, it's just going to be a case of waiting now. All of these cars are still bedding in their tires. The hards take a little bit longer to warm up, and especially in the first few laps. So it's a little because they're gonna experience this next now.
Parks
There
just
we go. There's
retired.
a time, and that's a virtual safety car caused by Ali Star. No, not Ali Star. Parkster. Don't know
Yeah.
what happened there, but we got a VSC.
Yeah, I think he just went off the road and went quite far off the road and then ended up in the wall. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. But what I did notice, Gary Gator on the mediums, is that he's going to, even though he's got to go very long on those medium compound of tyres because he's already used the hards this race. So that safety car, yes, it means it bunches up the field for him, but he will have to suffer the end of the race if he does not manage these tyres. So the Sauber, TTV, yes, gets a drive-through penalty. That completely changes the complexion of the race as we go green. As now the Alpine has to take a drive-through in the next 3 laps. And now that opens Gary Gator to go off and shoot Fizzle if the Alpine picks this lap. You will get DRS from the for the Alpine. Can TTV, yes, get by or cause any sort of problems for the Aston Martin? He's going to go to the outside. Pure frustration must be for the Alpine there. Around the outside, shoot Fizzle defends though, gets the run on exit. The Aston Martin defending, but the Alpine is all over the back of him. He's got a drive through, he's got to be careful not to cause a collision here, because now it's going to get, he's now going to get significantly harder for him. Pump Mantis has gone off the road at the hairpin. Nothing's going to be caught of that. He's going to get onto green once more as he gets a 3-second time penalty in the process. But this Alpine has completely ruined his race at this stage. The Sauber is not too close at the moment as he is trying to get by. He might be managing his tyres a little bit to try and get himself to the end. David has retired in the pit lane, becomes our 3rd retirement for the session as we go down towards the hairpin. Can shoot Fizzle keep ahead this time? Pump Mantis retires, becomes the 4th man to retire as we start to lose drivers here, there and everywhere. Shoot TTV going to the inside. Can the Alpine get by? Yes, he does. Shoot Fizzle doesn't fight it too hard into there. However, gets very close to the rear end of the Alpine. Gets a good look at that diffuser. DRS though for the man in P2. Could it be returned to P1? Around the outside he will look. Around the outside he will go. To the outside the Alpine tries to defend, but the Aston Martin speed around there is just a little bit too great. There's a bit of contact there as the Alpine's round. They've gone into the side of each other, and that is absolutely devastating for that Alpine, and now has dropped all the way down the order to P8. Absolutely distraught for him as we go down towards the final corner to start lap 15. Shoot Fizzle now lead Gary Gator ahead of JPS as our top 3 and our battle for the race lead.
JPS making his way back in then. Is he going to be the race winner again? Coming towards these last, the middle of this stint is looking fairly strong actually. So we could be seeing Mercedes win in the sprint and in the race.
Well, the favourite after the sprint certainly looks like he's becoming more and more of a favourite right now, but he has to contest with a man who was significantly quick in pre-season testing, Gary Gator, and Shoot Fizzle, who was the race winner from Vegas. We've got basically our 3 top drivers at this stage fighting out for the race victory. Can Shoot Fizzle defend from Gary Gator. Gary Gator going to go around the outside. Remember, he's on the medium combat of ties. He's going to have to act sooner rather than later, and he certainly does act. He gets to the race lead as the Sauber manages to do it with little defence from the Aston Martin. The Mercedes of JPS closes in ever much more as we get through sector 3. Under the hotel we go. These three, 3.8 seconds clear of Marchmeister. They're in a race of their own at this stage. Can the Sauber now defend from the Aston Martin and the Mercedes behind?
Gary setting the new fastest lap of the race now. But the Aston Martin is looking as strong as ever. Never mind, Ali Star. This is the first thing we've seen from the Red Bull this race. There we go, fastest lap there. 1:25.1 was that. We're all going 3 wide. Hang on, we're going 3 wide into this. It's the end of sector 1. What was going on? Well, this is unreal. The JPS up into P2 now. He's going to have DRS on the mystery machine. No, he's not, because they both went through the detection point at the same time. Here comes the Aston Martin. He's got the DRS. Both of them go past Gary Gator, coming up into the first hairpin in the chicane now, and it looks like Shoot's going to be in the best position this lap.
Yeah, Shoot looks like absolutely primed to get to the race lead. He's going to go to the inside, though. It's going to be a different move to what he tried on the Alpine a couple laps ago, but he will take the lead from JPS and reclaim his lead that he lost a couple laps ago. However, that 3 wide moment, completely unexpected.
There's not something that we've seen yet.
Yeah, but these guys absolutely on it. This is why you love these sort of leagues. They will go for battles in rather than just go for DRS overtakes left, right, and centre. They actually try just go for a move if they see an opportunity. We're going to go on to lap 17 now as we go down towards turn 1. Can JPS get back by the Aston Martin? Can Gary Gator get back behind the two in front of the 2 Mercedes powered cars in front of him? JPS goes a little bit wide there, however, as of now, that will give a little bit more confidence and a little bit more gap to Shoot Fizzle. And now, can the Aston Martin just keep a nice clear gap as we go down this 1 kilometre straight? DRS enabled for both the Mercedes and the Sauber. The Sauber looks much closer to the Mercedes as we go down towards turn the chicane. Not much Mercedes can do, and he goes a bit wide there as we into the chicane. That will compromise his line as we go onto the second part of the chicane and the second straight DRS straight of the lap. Not much the Mercedes can do as the Aston Martin has just managed that perfectly, managed the gap, kept it nice and easy for himself this time round. Actually, there's a bit of a contact. Marchmeister is out of the session. I'm not entirely sure what has happened there. We'll quickly go on board with Verkel, who sees a massive load of damage off that Haas before it disappears. And that has caused the safety car to bunch the field back up, a founder of the league, out of the race in the second round. And that is absolutely devastating there from the Haas. And I wonder what happened. That's now actually allowed Gary Gator to come into the pits, potentially looking for a new set of mediums, if anything, because that will give him pace. Yes, he'll drop positions, but he'll certainly have pace over his rivals on the older hards. He has a new set of mediums as well, because he hasn't done a medium stint yet, and now will come out the pits. Hasn't done 2 medium stints yet, so now Shoot Fizzle will continue to lead the way ahead of JPS. Rampant Gamers now your P3 man ahead of Roopsy Cola. Gary Gator will resume in P5 ahead of Handflap Kelly in P6. DJT, TTV, yes, Ali Star, this guy Neo, and Vuckel are your 11 remaining drivers as we head into the final third of the race.
So it's going to start getting a bit critical for the drivers with penalties now. So Rampant Gamer, 3-second time penalty. If we have a safety car restart like what we had before, all of the drivers are going to stay together. That's going to put Rampant Gamer right to probably the lead pack of those penalty runners. That's quite costly.
Yeah, this safety car has become quite a nuisance for the penalty runners here, because they now have it's really become a disappointment. Going to become disappointing for them in terms of point, because they're going to end up at the lower end of the points. Yeah, apart from Rampant Gamer, they're all in 7th to 10th, but with Vuckle there as well, looking to try and gain some positions. Those penalties could be dire straits for some of these drivers. As now we're going to go for one more lap of safety car, I do believe, as we wait for the Ferrari to come up. Let's have a quick look at our positions he gained. Rupsicola, Hanflap Kelly both having 7 positions gained this race so far, 9 for DJT, 3 for Alistar and 3 for Vuckle, but 1 position lost for this guy Neo has actually just pitted, so he's lost now at the back of the remaining field. 1 position loss for Ramper Gamer, Gary Gator, and TTV, yes. But it could all chop and change with everyone now back together. 11 drivers left in the field. I wonder what tyres this guy Neo has gone on to. He has gone on to the mediums, an older set of mediums, but that could be very beneficial in some way if he hasn't burnt them out too much, because it means that he can get back through the field a little bit quicker.
Stu was just pushing the safety car through that corner there. I think he wants to get going.
He's telling Bert to hurry up over the radio, probably, because at the moment it's become it's too slow for him. He wants to get going. He does not want to be stuck on cold hard tyres when drivers around him are on the medium. Drivers behind him, Gary Gator being one of them, on the mediums. So there's few drivers between Gary and the Aston. However, we cannot underestimate how good those mediums will be in comparison to the old hards.
Well, I don't know. Shoots thinks he's something on the hards, so
yeah.
We'll see.
Well, if he's going to be something, he better be it now, because he's got Gary, he's got the Sauber, who will be hunting him down. JPS will be giving him a hard time. Ramper Gamer, even though he's got a penalty, will be giving him a very difficult time if he possibly can. The man who was P2 in quality and closest to Shoot Fizzle is currently in P3. Safety car is in this lap. It's very late into the safety car. So these guys have now got to get ready to go as we go once more around the final couple of corners. They will come. When the Shoot Fizzle go? Will he go early? Will he go late? We're about to find out. It's not really no sort of weaving at this stage. He's just waiting for the perfect moment to go. He goes now, as we see the car's bogged down, just trying to get the power down as quickly as possible. As Shoot Fizzle gets a massive amount of oversteer, not Shoot Fizzle, JPS gets a massive amount of oversteer. That's allowed Ramper Gamer to go at the inside. There's a bit of contact there on the inside there. Ramper Gamer getting away with it, but he has lost a couple of positions. This has allowed Rupsi Cola and Gary Gator to get through, as Gary is actually going to make a move for P3 down towards there. Massive load of lock up there from the Sauber. And actually, he's gone back ahead of him. I think there might have been a bit of game lag there. I got quite a bit of game lag. I'm not sure about you, Sig, but
yeah, I'm getting that.
Yeah, okay. So Gary, quite a bit of lag there. Hopefully, he manages to stay connected to the session. Down the inside goes. On the outside goes Alistar. On the Aston Martin of Hanflap Kelly, 4P7, as the Aston Martin, I believe, is a ghosted, and he's dropping down the field as we speak. Gary Gator now making his way up to P2 around the outside of JPS in 2 sectors. He's made the moves he needed, because all of a sudden the Aston Martin of Shoot is right in his sight, as JPS has dropped back quite significantly from Shoot, but it's not been enough for Gary to lose DRS to the Aston Martin as we go under hotel once more to end lap 20.
Yeah, Gary's just completely equalised where he was before the safety car, so he's actually put himself in a better position because he's now on fresher tyres, and there we go. Are we surprised to see a fastest lap there from Gary? I don't think we are. So, he's within DRS of the Aston Martin and Shoot. Can he shoot past and get that win?
But he's going to he's going to be like an alligator just trying to chomp up his competition as Shoot is trying to make sure it doesn't fizzle out as he go down towards the DRS straight, and DRS are now enabled for the Sauber. He's going to have quite an easy time with things down in terms of that DRS down towards the chicane. He makes the move pretty easily, and there's not much there. It's all said and done as he's going to have massive amounts of grip over his Aston Martin rival, and that has really cost Shoot a potential race victory. As now we go down towards the end of sector 2, this is where the Sauber will absolutely shine. He's not going to have any sort of competition here in terms of pace. TTV, yes, Rampant Gamer going side by side around the outside of the hairpin as Alpine pushes Rampant Gamer out wide. Ferrari comes back on track, and he makes and decides he's just going to take the position, no questions about it. As the Alpine just sends it. That's absolutely ridiculous there from TTV. Yes, they're both here, there and everywhere, on, off the track, in every way, shape or form. But the Ferrari keeps position. TTV, yes, 3-second time penalty added to his tally. And now this is really starting to add up for the Alpine, who might lose a couple more positions by the end of this race.
But this guy Neo coming back into the pits. Don't know what's going on here. I think he's putting on a set of hards now. No, another set of mediums. But Gary, he hasn't dropped which one? DRS yet. So we might see the Aston Martin come back, but it's going to be a difficult one for the Shoot to make up here. But they've definitely dropped off JPS, so these two are going to be fighting towards the end now.
Yeah, absolutely. Thing is here for Gary, you need you would really have wanted JPS to be the one to be fighting Shoot Fizzle, so you can not just pull it away, but just to get take a few more points off our championship leader, Gary, retiring from the race in the opening round, despite having an impressive pace.
Ooh, big crash.
Big
It's going to be another safety car, I think.
Yeah, another safety car. Big crash between TTVS and Rampant Gamer. It is all starting to come to a head. Does Shoot Fizzle pit? Because it might be best for him to.
Yes,
Some said.
Has to.
No, he doesn't. He stays out. JPS stays out. Ali Star stays out. And that...
JPS drive-through penalty.
Speeding under safety car. That's cost our fifth place man, in the standings. As that... It's really surprising for me, the amount of people that just didn't pit. They all just decided to stay out because they didn't want to be caught in terms of dropping positions. They decided I'll just stick on the hards. Gary in an even better position now because he will, even though everyone will catch back up, his tyres will be in supreme condition compared to these hards, which continue to age. And those mediums look even more primed and will easily get even more easier to get to the end.
Yeah, those mediums going to be tasty. Really tasty. But if that was me, there's 9 drivers left in the race, and 4 of them now have penalties. At the time, I think only 3 of them did. I think I'd have taken the risk and boxed. You can have so much fresher tyres. You can go from softs from here.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if you decided I wanted the mediums just to be safe, you would have been absolutely dominantly quicker. These guys would not have been able to defend against you in any capacity. And once you get to sector 3, you're gone. You're just gone. They can't do anything. Your traction's immense. So, in my opinion, lost opportunity for some of these drivers. And Vuckel and this guy Neo, despite this guy Neo having a penalty, are in probably better positions and are likely to come through on Rupsi Cola, Hamplap Kelly and DJT. Ali Star's actually on 6-lap-old mediums, so he actually is in quite a good position anyway. He might come through passing JPS, who's got a drive-through no less, so he's going to have to come in at some point and Shoot Fizzle on 13-lap-old hards. So Ali Star could be in for a shot at P2, a man who's been quite quiet throughout this race. 3-second time penalty and all, but JPS just comes into the pits. He won't get a service drive-through now.
No, he won't. But at least he'll be on fresher tyres for when he does have to do his drive-through.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe he just wants to make sure he secures that frost, that Ali Star has left the session, so he will need to get back in very quickly. Otherwise, all will be said and done, and he won't be able to earn anything in terms of points, just because everyone will just start to try and overtake him because the AI drivers are so much slower. So, with everyone, he'll have to do it soon because he's going to be coming to the end of his safety car period very shortly.
Yeah, it's probably the last lap.
But Gary in excellent position now. Shoot Vizzle, despite being considered a king of the king of hards in his words, might be game set and match here for Gary Gator, if anything.
Never know, might have meant king of hard-ons.
Maybe. Especially now he's been to the toilet. So JPS has left the session as well. So a couple drivers now just lead. We've had we hopefully get both. I don't know if Alistair did join back. I wasn't. No, he hasn't actually. So both them two left the session. And this has become a field of basic, partially ghosted cars. Shoot Fizzle and Gary Gator involved in them. I don't know what Rootsie Cola was doing to that Red Bull, but now he's caused a massive. I'm not even questioning it. He's basically caused the M25 around Yas Marina. But here we go then. Safety car in this lap. Gary Gator, Shoot Fizzle, your battle for the race lead. But at the moment, unless Shoot Fizzle can do something absolutely extraordinary, Gary Gator's your favourite. You've got to now wait and wait and wait. What can these drivers do? When can these drivers go? As we wait round in the penultimate corner, when does Gary can just go whenever he has the speed? He does. He goes now as he now goes into that final corner. Can that's actually
that grip.
Yeah, that grip is ridiculous in comparison, and that is very much where it's all said and done. He's got to hope his tyres. Let's just hope his tyres haven't gone through something like a cheese grater, because all of a sudden, if it comes back to him, he might end up with something later on. But stepping up old mediums, they're quite far in. Yes, they've had a couple laps on a safety car. They are fairly far in for mediums. They did start to die off in a couple laps, so they might struggle towards the end. This guy Neo starting to come through the field. He's up into P5 at this stage. If I call up into P4, those two on the new mediums, Rootsie Cola and Shoot Fizzle, will have to be watchful of those drivers behind into the chicane now. It's just getting more and more likely. Gary has pulled away. As he pulls away, Shoot Fizzle trying to do everything he can, but we're now about to go in to probably the best part of the lap for Gary in terms of speed.
Yeah, but you never know, because Shoot's actually withheld within half a second, so he might be able to stay within the DRS window, you know?
It could be very, but we'll have to see, because he's actually done very well here. Maybe he's just managed to keep these hards in good check, because at the moment he's not really losing pace here to the Sauber. He's doing everything he absolutely needs to. DRS is now enabled. He's within 4 tenths. This Aston Martin could be actually the Jensen Button of this league, because those hards seem to be working very well for him at this stage. Goes through turn 2, through turn 3. Can we see the Aston Martin get back by the Sauber? The race is on here. Few laps to go. 4 laps to go. It could be Shoot Fizzle versus Gary Gator, despite the significant difference in tyre life. The Aston Martin is absolutely stayed with him. This guy Neo has made his way up to P3 at this stage. As now we go into the chicane, he does it well before the chicane. Rampant Vuckel, in the Ferrari, out of nowhere, comes into the battle for P3. He tries to make a move on Rootsie Cola for P4, but he couldn't do so. He has to back out as we go down the straight now towards the hairpin. Nothing happening up between the top two, but around the outside goes the Ferrari of Vuckel, and the Williams actually makes him in contact, just understeers into the Ferrari, and he almost pushes the Ferrari off track there. Goes into the triple right hander. No contact, please, gentlemen, as they don't make any more contact, but the Ferrari moves his way up to P4. but
There's a little bit of contact on the apex, but luckily neither of them got away with any damage. Shoot now within 4/10. He's really pushing those hards hard, and the self-proclaimed king of hards could be on here for a win.
yeah, definitely here because he last time a race winner from last time out on for a battle for the race lead. He hadn't had it easy in the round one. He's definitely not had it easy in round two. Gary Gator retirement in round one, looking to try and get victory, but has not pulled away from that Aston Martin, who in all circumstances has kept a very good has done a very good race in terms of pace, but it looks like the Aston Martin is all over the back of him. However, this guy Neo is coming closer and closer. Yes, he's got like 3 seconds, but if these two fight too hard and he gets ahead, this could be the Mercedes' race as he gets closer. Shoot Fizzle to the outside, looks to the outside, couldn't make it work. Gary Gator cuts him off, looks to the inside, can't do anything about him there. Gary Gator has the grip, he just has to sit behind that a little bit longer. He's going to try and look to the inside for that triple right-hander, couldn't do anything there, just backs out that little bit. Gary is just managing to defend at this time, but here comes the Mercedes in this guy Neo. He's got that 3 second, but he is catching these guys at a rapid rate of knots. Look to the inside for Shoot Fizzle, decides not to do it and decides to feign it, and now he gets a bit of oversteer on exit. This is really allowing the Mercedes to get close to them. They are nose to tail here as we go on to the penultimate lap. Can the Aston Martin do anything against this Sauber? Can the Mercedes do anything against the two in front of him? As he's about to kick off, this guy Neo to the inside on the exit of turn 3, but Shoot Fizzle managing to just boost power into a defensive position there. And now onto the back straight. As Gary Gator's got a little bit more of a gap than he did in the previous lap, but Shoot is going to come closer and closer to the inside. He defends as Aston Martin goes around the outside into the chicane. 3 seconds for Gary. Gary absolutely distraught as the Shoot's race lead has all of a sudden become supremely likely as he's now battling with 2 guys for penalties. Around the outside goes Gary into the hairpin. Can he make the move stick? Shoot Fizzle has defended that beautifully as we only have a lap and a half to go. Gary, who looked like the guy to go on to race when only about a handful of laps ago, has now turned into the unlikely candidate. Shoot Fizzle has done an excellent job as we go under the hotel for the penultimate time.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Shoot has got any warnings at all, so he's well in the clear.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like an opportunity of a lifetime into the final lap. The race winner from race 1 looking to win race number 2. There's not really much that the drivers around him can do at this stage unless he makes some sort of significant error, as this guy Neo pushing that car to the limit, almost ended up in the wall at turn 3. He has a massive amount of oversteer there. Gary, despite having the DRS being really close, he might win on track today. But if Shoot keeps his track limits clean, he will have that advantage in terms of penalties. This guy Neo trying to make any sort of move down the inside goes Gary Gator, but it's turned to a defence against the Mercedes. He's going to get a cutback though. The Aston Martin not able to do too much there. He will have the DRS. There goes to Sauber down towards the hairpin. It's going to be Buckle though, who's going to try and make a move on the Mercedes, and the Sauber goes through for the race lead one final time as we go down past the DRS line. Buckle is going around the outside of the Mercedes. He will make the move for the podium, and he'll do it on track. But he may make it P2 if he can just keep his nose clean through his final couple of corners. Gary, unfortunately for him, will have to settle for P2. And while he'll win on track, it's Shoot Fizzle will come around the final corner and take victory on penalties. Gary wins on track. Fizzle wins on penalties. The Sauber Aston Martin makes it 2 for 2 and wins the second race of the season. Buckle comes home in P2 after a very quiet race from him, and Gary has to settle for P3, and that was an epic race.
Very good effort from the top 4 there in those last 2 laps. It a shame for drivers like Marcel. TTV could have been in there towards the end. I think at one point there could have been any of about 7 drivers that could have won. But here we go. Shoot ends up on top.
Yeah, shoot, ends up on top once more. I'm starting to believe we shouldn't doubt this man because he's gone 2 for 2. I'm gonna have to get this man back in here for an interview because I need to know what this man's been eating for breakfast. He will take the top spot once more, second in the sprint race, first in the main. Let me quickly just. I think he's already in there. Hold on, let me just quickly message him. But congratulations to the Aston Martin.
Congratulations there.
Congratulations. Excellent job. What do you make of that race, Digwell? We'll try and get them in.
I mean, it was a bit of a mess, I'll be completely honest. But there were a few clean drivers out there, and it was a shame that we lost so many in quick succession. Just a few drivers there need to be a little bit more aware of their surroundings on track, I think. So the stewards are probably going to be quite busy after this one. But the top 4, they were definitely in the positions that, ignoring penalties, they're in the positions where they should have been. They should have, all 4 of them should have been in the top 4.
Yeah, they made an excellent job. None of them really made any major problems of themselves. But I'm going to now pull in the man who won the race. Congratulations, shoot. Another race win. Well done.
Congratulations.
Oh, bloody hell.
That was a good race. Let's go back. Let's go back to the sprint, shall we, quickly? Got P2 there. How were you feeling after that, before heading into the main quality and main race?
I just wanted to sleep.
Don't blame you. I mean, you did very well in both races. You were competing up front the whole race. Was it an easier one than last week in Vegas?
Oh, nah.
It's just as hard.
It was a lot harder because I would have picked with Gary, but I did put the hardest track because I didn't think there'd be another safety car so late. So I had a set of hards ready instead of mediums.
I mean, that's fair enough. I just wanted to question you on your hard ties. Were they in very good nick? Because you look very pacey by the end of that race. Like tyre preservation. If I've ever seen them, like Jensen Button, there, just manage your tyres beautifully. I don't. You're on them tyres for a very long time, extended from what you were on, or supposed to be on, by a good couple laps. I
felt good on the mediums as well in the sprint because I noticed everyone was fucking.
I mean, it looked like you really had it under control there for most part of the race because it looked like you just managed your way at the front and didn't really drop outside that top few in the top few group.
Yeah, it's a just beautiful fighting usually from these lot. I always look forward to my Wednesdays.
I'm sure you do because it's 2 wins on the trot. You've had to fight a couple different drivers. Today you fought Gary. Last week you were fighting a handful of different drivers.
Yeah.
Was it difficult to fight? Is it difficult to fight so many different drivers with so many different abilities in racing, or is it you kind of have the same mindset going into each one?
I mean, I can learn a lot more from them with how they drive, so then I can either defend or overtake them.
That's fair enough. I mean, it's clearly works because you've done an excellent job so far. So heading into next week, we are at Spain. Do you feel like that's a good track for
Yeah.
you? Do you feel like that's a good track for you, or do you and do you think you can pull off the hat trick?
Hopefully, yeah.
Well, thank you for the interview. Congratulations on the race win. I'm going to end it there. We will be back.
Dude, I just want to ask you a quick.
Spain,
Oh
here
God,
we go.
sorry, Steve.
What are your preparations for the next race? How are you going to go into that now and keep yourself on that high?
Just do what I usually do. Chill for a couple of days, and then start worrying next week.
Great news on that. And just a quick one. Kalisto wanted to know what you had for breakfast. So what was it?
Oh, what did I have for breakfast? Did I even have breakfast? I don't know.
Maybe
Probably.
that's the breakfast of champions. Just don't have anything.
Yeah,
Well,
works for me.
Valtteri Bottas had his
Don't do
porridge.
anything different next time.
Yeah, we'll be here hopefully next week.
Yep. Well, Valtteri Bottas had his porridge. You have nothing. So, thank you, Steve. Thank you, Shufis. Congratulations on your win, and thank you for the interview. I'm going to end the stream here. We'll be back next week for the Spanish Grand Prix. Back to normal viewing, no sprints. So that next week. So we will see you then. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.